Okay, so I'm Joe. I got into hemp through always being interested in plants and studying them and their properties. I kind of came at hemp in a big way from the kind of like buildings side of it. I built a straw bale house and then I was studying natural architecture, and then just kind of realised that hemp was the solution to so many problems in that form. And then as that seed of inspiration sort of germinated beyond hemp as like a marijuana as a recreational medicinal plant that I had previously known, and then that seed kind of just germinated, and it was just realising it has so many properties that are solutions to so many problems, and yeah, getting kind of blown away by that, and then feeling like it was such a fantastic resource that it should be shared in the best way. So we set about a cooperative to grow hemp and kind of share out the wonderful bounty that this plant so generously provides with everyone, basically. Yeah, and we started off with a seed crop because the plant is so vigorous. It's actually takes some thinking about how you go about harvesting it, and it has incredibly strong fibres which can be used for all sorts of like wonderful applications, from textiles and ropes where they've historically been used loads. And yeah, the world would not be the same as it is now by any stretch of the imagination without hemp sails and ropes to move materials around the globe and fight wars. And you know, it's not always been used as a force for good, the power of hemp. But yeah, those fibres can be problematic in combining the crop because they are so strong and can tangle up in things. So we started with a smaller variety for seed. The seed is fantastic. It's a great source of unsaturated fat and complete protein. So it's a wonderful thing for people who are seeking not to endorse the murder industries of like meat and dairy. So it's filling that hole in our diet of protein and fat that our body needs. So yeah, we felt it was important to try and get that out and make it available for people. And also it was the easiest crop to grow and harvest initially. And then this year we've grown our first crop which we can use as a building material, and kind of worked out our process for doing that. And that crop has just provided so much as well on top of that resource. It's provided an amazing harvest of essential oils, of tea, all of which are extraordinarily healthy and therapeutic and have amazing properties that are increasingly being explored now for medical use and seem to be extremely effective. There's seeds, and ultimately a house which we're going to build and start building next spring. All from one plant. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Okay, so what we're doing here is taking the flowers, removing most of the leafy parts. They're being separated off, and that will go for tea, CBD tea. And then what's left here, that's going to be sent for further drying. And the reason we're doing this is because there's so much leaf material here, and especially with the climate that we have, it's very difficult to get it suitably dry. So this is reducing the amount of material that's there, and a lot of it's quite extraneous to the purposes that it's required for anyway. So it's fairly labour intensive, but also quite meditative, and there's good company. So it's not really what you'd call hard work.
Hello, I'm James Norman. I've been farming for about 35 years, and I've been organic farming for 25 of those years, running my own farms. I first came across hemp in the person of Joe McGann, who approached me to help with a research project that he was doing at the Centre for Alternative Technology, and he wanted to grow a couple of acres of hemp for that project, and it grew from there really. He formed Hemp a year later, and it's just grown from there. This is now the third year, and we're growing 50 acres of hemp this year. Well, Hemp are very ambitious about growing hemp for multiple uses, and it clearly is a wonderful plant. Currently they're concentrating on food uses and pharmaceutical uses, which are the sort of high value end uses, but in the long run I think it'll be used for fibre and all the many things that hemp can be used for there. It's also particularly a great crop to grow organically. It has really very few diseases and pests, and because it's very dominant, it doesn't really have very many weed problems. And it seems to grow quite well on quite low fertility ground. So it makes an excellent organic crop. We're still experimenting, and we haven't got it all right by any means yet.
Hi, and you, Richard. We're a little late. We've enjoyed quite a lot of Reading. Are you up here? So you've been growing for 3 years on the same land? Are you?
Yes.
Are you just so what sort of yield? Do you know what yields you're getting of?
So it's been a kind of, so the first year was a test crop, which didn't really gather much data from that. But last year we had a really good seed crop, which we got 14 tons from 10 hectares.
So about one and a half tons a hectare of seed.
Yeah, which was a nice crop, and compared to
that's pretty good.
So we're also sort of coming from on this land. The farmer had kind of got a bit despondent about arable farming. It was just he's it wasn't the size that he was operating at. No one was particularly interested in the quantities of conventional crops that he could grow.
What was he growing? Was it
sort of wheat, oats, barley, that kind of stuff.
Cereals.
Yeah, but no one was really particularly bothered with 7 tons of wheat. They're just we want 700 or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was just sort of basically, I think what's happened. I'd say he's probably a bit unfair. I should let him talk for himself, but in some ways he's symptomatic of the kind of reduction of farmers to land managers rather than actually sort of producing stuff. So he's does depend on the subsidies that he gets from from the government or from European Union or whatever.
Policy,
but he's actually kind of an enlightened farmer in that's not, he's farming for the future, not for his kind of so he'll have cows at low stocking densities in order to produce the best sward that's has the greatest biodiversity, and then kind of the cows do get slaughtered and sold, but that's almost just a sort of secondary thing to the kind of land management practice. But he was not I think hemp has sort of really stimulated much more of an interest in that again with him with regard to the arable stuff. because it does offer an opportunity for a meaningful return, especially because it's an emerging market.
And it's a good break crop.
It's
isn't
a good
it, as
break
well? So you
crop.
could still have winter
Yeah.
wheat and
Yeah.
hemp probably.
Yeah, and he's a carbon nut as well, so it's like the opportunity to build soil carbon with hemp is something that we're both sort of really excited about.
Hi, my name's Emma. I came to be part of Hempin because my partner is a part of Hempin. I'm from the Highlands of Scotland, and I guess my interest in hemp is spurred from an interest in nutrition in general. Over the past 3 years, I've been in recovery from ME, chronic fatigue syndrome, and I've had to radically change my diet. So instead of eating a diet quite high in carbohydrates, I had to cut out grains and all sugars, even root vegetables and fruit for a long time, and eat a diet high in protein and fat. So I was eating a lot of meat, a lot of fish, a lot of eggs, and was struggling to find other sources that kind of gave me the level of sustenance that I needed. And when I started to eat hemp, I noticed that it was giving me exactly what I needed, and it was the first time that I was able to eat a breakfast that wasn't eggs for a long time. So it's a perfect balance of omega-3 and 6, and a really good ratio of 9 as well, and an excellent source of protein and fat. So from a nutritional standpoint, I'm really interested in it. Also, I just think the capacity of the plant to be used in so many different ways is incredible. You know, I mean, how many plants can you use to make clothes and houses and vehicles and the fuel to run those vehicles, and food and healing medicine? You know, it's just, the potential of it is incredible, and it's really something that can help heal the world. And interestingly enough, you know, it's something that in other forms it seemed to harm the world, but it has this amazing capacity to heal, and so I'm really interested in that. I write a well-being blog called thewaythroughthewoods.com, where I write about yoga, meditation, spirituality, healing, nutrition, and nature. I love being in nature. So yeah, definitely there's a crossover in my interests between the kind of things I write about, and I will be writing about hemp in the very near future.
Welcome to Hemp. We are on a Veg Fest 2016 in London, Olympia. Smashing it, second day in a row. We've been sold out in 5 hours last night, and we're preparing for tonight again. A big show, amazing popularity of hemp products, and people acknowledging the benefits of it. And we've been welcomed so much here, and thank you to all of these beautiful people who come and appreciate, and with you we are a movement. Thank you.